skill that you can learn to master. And if you master this skill, it will change your life. Would you want to know what that skill is? Well, you absolutely want to watch this video until the end because I'm going to share with you one skill that will change your life as a woman in leadership if you are truly, and I mean truly, ready to go to that next level in your career. You want to master this skill. Why? There are many skills that women in leadership need to learn how to master. However, there is one skill in particular that will set you apart from all the other leaders out there. And if you want to know it, you absolutely want to watch this video. Now, I want to mention to you that, as I mentioned a moment ago, there are a lot of skills out there that you need to learn, but this is one you got to learn how to master. Now, if this information sounds of interest to you, then guess what? You are at the right place. Here on this channel, I help women in leadership learn how to communicate confidently under pressure and be that leader that stands out from everybody else that makes that really big impact on the world that we're looking for. Now, my target audience that I work with specifically as an executive coach are women in leadership like yourself in terms of my one-on-one coaching clients and group coaching clients. However, on YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn, I have a mix of individuals that are part of my community. I have women in leadership and I have men in leadership. The information I'm going to share with you right now, especially as it relates to leadership and communication, truly does transcend gender. So regardless of if you are a woman or a man, you're going to learn a lot of information from this channel. So feel free to subscribe if you really want to try to go to that next level. This channel is only for serious individuals that know they need to sharpen their skill sets, that know they're tired of being missed out on opportunities because of the way they communicate, that know that they have a very big message they want to send out to the world, but they just need some help refining that message. This is a place for you. You will learn a lot here. Check out the live videos I have on my channel. That's where most of the action takes place for now. I'm about to go back into recorded content, but check out the live videos. You'll learn a lot of information here. Now, this is a live video, so if you're watching this portion of the live, you may be watching the replay. So welcome. Give me just a few moments to say hello to everyone as they are joining into the live, and I'll go into this one skill that will change your life. All right, welcome everybody. Hope you're all doing well today. And if you're ready to change your life by learning this skill, stay tuned. Let me say hello to Fanta King. Hello, welcome. Let me know where you all are joining from today. We have Chelsea Main Roblox DNADIKGUA Darwin. Hello, welcome, friend. Hope you're doing well today. And we have HoBX606. Hello, welcome, friend. And HoBX606 says, never ever seen you before. Well, glad you're here today. Believe it or not, I go live Tuesday through Thursday. Right now in the morning and in the afternoon, in the evening this time. And if you're trying to be able to elevate how you communicate as a woman in leadership or a man in leadership, this is the best place for you to be today on YouTube because you're going to learn this skill that's going to change your life. All right, and there's another person. The name is in a different language, so I don't know how to pronounce it specifically. It says, you're beautiful. Thank you so much. Anicia Azaka. Hello, welcome. Hope you're doing well today. So the skill, now let me tell you this. This skill is going to change your life. Let me explain to you what and how this skill will change your life. There are three, and I have narrowed this down from my over 20 years of experience as a public speaker, as a C-suite executive, as a director, as a manager, and as an executive coach that people really do struggle with. These are the three areas people struggle with, and this is generally speaking. So think about it. If you can master these skills, you will automatically be above everybody else. Okay, so the very first skill, before I go into the skills that people struggle with and the one you need to master, speed. Hello, speed. Hope you're doing well today. And thank you for being here. Let me know what part of the big, beautiful world you're joining from today. The first skill people struggle with is eye contact. People have a really hard time making eye contact with other people. There's a part of eye contact that feels very, very uncomfortable. People just don't know how to read it. They don't know how to function in it. So I talk about this on my channel in detail. So definitely want to subscribe to the channel if you want to learn more. The second skill that I see people struggle with oftentimes is silence. People don't like silence, right? Let me know in the comments below if you've ever struggled with making eye contact and being silent. Have you ever struggled with it? You would be surprised that silence is truly a superpower, especially if you are a leader. This is a power, this is a skill you need to learn how to master. And finally, the third, and what I'm going to be talking about in this particular video, skill that people struggle with is public speaking. People struggle with public speaking. Why? There is a fear that people have of what other people think of them. They wonder, what do people think? What are they saying? What are they going to tell other people about me? And this is the reason why so many leaders can be doing amazing things in their careers, but the fact that they are not able to speak in public, they just get really scared. And they do not grow the way that we want them to grow. Now, I want to know from you, have any of you struggled with speaking in public? Have any of you struggled with speaking in public? Let me know in the comments below if you've ever struggled with speaking in public. Let me know why, and let me know what happened. What happened to make you struggle? Because I'll be happy to give you some insight in the next little bit. Learn from my over 20 years of expertise and experience as a public speaker. I've been on the news. I've interacted with congressional leaders at the federal and the state level here in the United States. So I've been in those very friendly and very contentious conversations before. And so public speaking is not as bad as you think it is, because it will absolutely change your life. So let me share with you why public speaking will absolutely change your life as a woman in leadership. If you're my direct audience that I provide executive coaching services to, if you are struggling with public speaking, you definitely want to reach out to me for a strategy session in the description below. If you are a man in leadership, I welcome you here. This is going to change your life. Why does public speaking change your life? Now, before I go into it, let me say hello to Abbas Views. Hello, welcome. How you doing today? Let me know if you ever have struggled with public speaking before, and let me know what part of the big, beautiful world you are in today. Now, why do people struggle with public speaking? As I mentioned, people are just afraid. They're just afraid of speaking in public. They don't know what people are going to think. They don't know what they're going to say, etc. And that fear is real. Let me know if you've ever felt just afraid when you had to speak in front of a group of people. I did many years ago. I do not now, but I know that fear and what comes up. Now, before I go into this more, I have Yucatan Suckerman. Okay, welcome. Hope you're doing well today. Public speaking. People are afraid to do it, right? They're very afraid to speak in public. We talked about why. They're worried about what other people think of them and what they're saying. Now, as I mentioned, majority of the people, for those of you who have just joined, majority of people, regardless of where you are from in the world, struggle with what? If you remember, if you just joined, I'm going to go over them really quickly. They struggle with eye contact. It's hard making eye contact with other people. It's very difficult because it feels awkward. It feels uncomfortable. People struggle with silence. That awkward silence is something that makes people feel very just like they don't want to speak. And people also struggle with public speaking. So if you as a leader watching this video right now, if you can learn to master these three areas that people struggle with, you automatically are going to be way up here, friends. You're going to be way up here in terms of how you're communicating as a leader. And this is the reason why this is the perfect time for you to subscribe to my channel. This is what I talk about on my channel, and I help leaders be able to communicate confidently under pressure. If you are a woman in leadership, I do one-on-one services and coaching with you, executive coaching. And if you're a man in leadership, you're going to learn a lot of information here on the channel anyways, because this is what leaders do. This is for serious individuals that are really trying to elevate how they're communicating, because people become great by how they communicate. And my role here, my mission on this earth, is to help unlock the greatness within you. And so I'm doing that by sharing with you over 20 years of expertise. So let me go into the chat. There's a couple things that was going on. Okay, so Yucatan says, I'm afraid to speak publicly because I have a squeaky voice. I sound like a little mouse man, like Mickey Mouse. Okay, so Yucatan, let's talk about that. Before we're going to go into it, let me say hello to Wyatt S. Hello, welcome, friend. Wyatt S says, facts, tell them. Yes, Wyatt, exactly. This skill, speaking in public, will absolutely change your lives. It will. And before I go into Yucatan, because Yucatan, hang on with me, friend, because there's a lot of things I want to unpack in terms of what you said and how we can maybe modify that. is Abbas View says, where are you from? I'm from the United States. I'm currently in the Sunshine State of Florida. YS says, exactly. Oh, so only girls. Okay, so YS. So I work with women in leadership in terms of my executive coaching, my one-on-one clients. However, on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, I have women in leadership and men in leadership that are part of my audience. And the information I share with you will help you go to that next level as a leader, regardless of if you're a woman in leadership or a man in leadership. My executive coaching practice, I focus on women, but you learn a lot of information here if you're a man in leadership as well. Alan Stewart, welcome, friend. Hope you're doing well today. And okay, so let me see. Okay, so YS has a question, and it's similar to Yucatan's. All right, so YS says, by the way, what the other person, people call me squeakers, so do you ignore them? Okay, so yes, you can ignore people when they're not speaking to you in a very nice way. All right, Yucatan, let's go. Let's go ahead and talk about what's going on with you. So Yucatan also mentions, I try to ignore them, but I always end up crying when I finally get home in private. Well, you know what, Yucatan, I really, before we go into it, friend, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I talk about these skills that people don't talk about when you're in those very challenging situations like that. And first, I appreciate you sharing that, you know, sometimes you get upset when you go home, and that's okay. And I appreciate you mentioning that so much. And that's a lot that you have to do. But subscribe to my channel, friend. I will help you learn how to develop those next level skills. So the next time people try to give you a hard time, you're going to be ready. You're going to be ready to have a conversation and really inform and show yourself as an executive and speak in a very affirmative way. Now, let's talk a little bit about this. So YS says you just subbed to you. Okay, I think I get what you're saying. Okay, Yucatan says, I subbed, I need professional help. Hey, Yucatan, there's a lot of content here on my lives where I talk about those 3 things that people struggle with: eye contact and being able to speak and be silent, in public speaking. So I talk about that. I appreciate the heart emojis, but I talk about this on my channel in detail. And if you have something specifically that you want to learn more about outside of what we're going to talk about specifically for you, then let me know in the comments below. I will do a video, Yucatan, just for you, friend. I will do a video for you and give you a shout out. Just let me know what topics you're struggling with and I'll help you. All right, so let's see. YS says, what if you're going through a depression in your fam? Okay, so there's a couple things we'll talk about that. Let me focus on Yucatan's question first about feeling like you have a squeaky voice like Mickey Mouse. Well, Yucatan, that's okay. So if you feel like you have a squeaky voice and you feel like your voice is a little bit higher, and before I go into that, I know Wyatt says Wyatt S has to go. Wyatt, okay, Wyatt, to answer your question really quickly, Wyatt S's question was, when do you stream? I go live Tuesday through Friday in the evenings, majority of the time. In the mornings, I started doing live streams also. So feel free to catch me whenever you can. I live stream so much that YouTube invited me to be a part of their live stream and research panel. So that's how much I live stream. That I did so much that you all have been present with me and engaging that YouTube took a look and said, come help us. So this is a time when I live stream. But if you have any questions, YS, as it relates to communication and leadership, learn from my over 20 years of experience as a C-suite executive, a director, a manager, and a public speaker, I will help you go to that next level, friend. So Yucatan, if you feel like you have that squeaky type of voice, there's a couple things we can do to work on that. One is if you collect your baseline, okay? So if your baseline and you feel like your baseline, I talk about this on my channel, is more of a squeaky type of voice type baseline, then what we need to do is either elevate or we need to lower your voice. So for instance, if this is my baseline, let's say this is how I talk normally. This is how I talk normally all the time. If I need to make something sound a bit more serious, then I will lower my voice and say, this is something I think we really need to start working on immediately, right now. So I will actually lower my voice some. So Yucatan, what you might want to try to do is lower your voice just a bit. Meaning you don't need to lower it in a way of sounding like you're whispering. You don't want to do that, but you want to lower the depth of your voice. So try to speak a little bit lower, but with more depth to it. Sometimes what I've told my clients in a one-on-one setting is when you're struggling with this, take a big breath. And when you're breathing out, breathe out, but speak with that loud voice. So if you feel like you have that mousy type voice, try this out. Try to take a breath and speak out loud. Like breathe it out, but your voice is going to be a little bit lower in terms of your depth. That will help you maybe not feel like you have a mousy voice. It's something you have to practice. The fact that you mentioned you feel like you have a mousy voice is so important because you have to be aware of where you are. But if you're trying to modify it and make it lower, we have to lower your octave. We have to go down. We have to really breathe. If you feel like you can't do it, big breath and breathe out and try to breathe out the air and breathe out the depth so that you're not sounding like mousy in terms of what you said. This will add a bit more depth to your voice. Now, when people try to give you a hard time about it, that's why you subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you're struggling with when you're speaking in front. Because if you already feel like you're feeling a little bit mousy in terms of how you're communicating, then this is something that internally in your mind is bothering you. You may not sound as mousy as you think you do, Yucatan. It might be something that maybe just you're thinking you are, but there may be things that we can slightly modify to help you have more of a depth in terms of your voice when you're speaking. And then sometimes you may purposely have to lower your voice. If you already have a baseline that is higher, you may need to just go down. You may need to really go down in terms of your voice. And that's maybe just what you have to do. Knowing how to increase and decrease the sound of your voice, the tone of your voice, is a master skill that leaders need to learn how to be able to do at any point in time. You can elevate your voice to add more lightness to a conversation. You can lower your voice to add more seriousness to a conversation. So it's a really good point that you mentioned this up. And you may not sound as mousy as you think you can. That's just in my humble opinion. But if you feel like you're struggling with it, definitely let me know what else I can do to help you. Alrighty, so David Garcia Aldana, welcome back, friend. Hola, ¿cómo estás? All right, hola, saludos desde Mexico. All right, fantastic, friend. Well, good to see you back. David Garcia Aldana is a regular here on my lives. All right, Abbas Views says, problem is speaking in office meeting. Abbas Views, this is the place for you to be. You absolutely, friend, need to subscribe to my channel. I talk about speaking in meetings all the time. Feel free to look at my live videos here. Now, I'll give you something just to think about as it relates to speaking in meetings. The key, remember what I said. This is what people struggle with. They struggle with eye contact, silence, public speaking. Learn how to master these three, even in your office meetings, and you will already set yourself above everybody else. I hope that makes sense. So follow my channel, subscribing here will be helpful. One of the keys I'll give to you, because you mentioned this, is if you're speaking in front of a meeting, there's a couple things I want to share with you really quickly, if that's okay. One is you have to be prepared in terms of what are you going to be talking about, what are you going to be discussing. You have to be prepared in terms of what it is you're going to discuss. Because sometimes in a meeting, you don't know what to say if you're not prepared for it. Majority of the time, Abbas Views, when you're going into a meeting, you have some type of idea of what this meeting is about. Majority of the time. Now, when you're a leader and you've elevated in your leadership journey, sometimes you're placed in the meetings, you have no idea what's going on, and you still can prepare for those. But most of the time, you have some idea in terms of what the meeting is going to be about. And if you know what the meeting is going to be about, then make sure you develop a couple of talking points, maybe one, maybe two, in terms of what you want to talk about, especially when you're in a public meeting. Now, when you're trying to develop those techniques in terms of how to engage your audience and have questions or debate back and forth if someone's giving you a hard time, there's a couple videos here on my live channel where I talk about these type of strategies at a extensive amount of detail. So definitely let me know what you need some help with. Put it in the comments below. I'll do a video just for you. And I hope to see you back on the channel. All right, Yucatan says, okay, I think these tips will help a lot. Yes, they will. I've been public speaking for over 20 years, and I understand how some people just naturally, they may have a higher pitched voice. You just have to breathe it, and you have to basically, when you take a big breath, you're breathing in as much oxygen as you can, and in order for you to breathe it out in a forceful way, your voice needs to carry with it. And so that's a great way to help add some depth to your voice if you're feeling like it's mousy. But if people are making you upset and making you cry, I will definitely let me know what's going on, and I'll come up with a strategy to help you not do that so much. Okay, thank you for the smiles, Yucatan. Wyatt S, I'm back. Welcome back, Wyatt S. Yucatan says, I guess I'm just learning to find my voice and what that voice will do to shape my world. That's a really impactful comment that you made, Yucatan. Appreciate you mentioning that, friend. And the fact that you just mentioned that, Yucatan, it already tells me that you are definitely in the right place, because that self-awareness is what I do to my one-on-one clients when we're in an executive coaching session. If you've never worked with a coach before, and even though my coaching practice directly, and thank you for the heart emojis, I work specifically with women in leadership, but if you've never worked with an executive coach, if you're a woman in leadership or a man in leadership, the purpose of coaching is to help you to gain a better sense of self-awareness about yourself and make some serious moves in terms of how to elevate yourself in your career. Meaning that you will move a lot faster than doing things on your own if you're working with a coach. We are trained to help you to move forward quickly in the goals you're trying to accomplish. So this is what we do here. And then the fact that you're trying to learn your voice is very important. So one of the things, Yucatan, that you can do, and if you haven't done this before, this is what I tell my one-on-one clients to do, is to take some time and record some videos of yourself. Record yourself talking about a topic that you don't like. Record yourself talking about a topic that you are incredibly passionate about, and record yourself recording a topic about a video, or record a video about a topic that you could really care less about. This will help you to start finding your voice and start understanding, how does Yucatan really speak when Yucatan is excited and Yucatan is discussing something that you're very passionate about? Or how does Yucatan speak when you are discussing a topic that you could care less about? How does Yucatan speak when you're discussing a topic that you absolutely do not like? This will help you to find your voice. This will help you to start learning your baseline and learning yourself in terms of how you communicate. This is what I do for my clients in a one-on-one setting, and this is actually how to really help you start learning your voice. Because once you learn your voice and you know exactly, this is how I sound when I'm excited, this is how I sound when I'm not happy, or this is why I sound when I just simply don't care, then you can start using that data to change your voice, elevate it, lower it, depending on what you're trying to say. And I'm telling you, when you start mastering these skills and learn your voice, and you're trying to do what you can to shape your world, you will make that big impact on the world friend that you're looking for. So I hope that helps you. All right, YS says, wait, so what if you're finding a job application? Okay, so if you're applying, I'm assuming you're talking about applying for a job application. Let me know if I'm incorrect, and I'll go back and I'll say something differently. But when you're doing a job application, it's pretty standard. There's not really much emotion you can do into a job application, but there's ways that you can make yourself sound like an expert. And if you want to learn more about that, definitely let me know in the comments below. This is a topic that I definitely can provide a lot more depth to as it relates to what to put on your job application. There's certain words that sound more elevated, I would say, YS, than your standard words. So I'll give you an example, just thinking of something that you could say. Let's say you worked at, I'm thinking of a place. Let's say you worked in the healthcare industry. I'm just throwing something out there. Instead of saying, I worked at this amazing hospital for 10 years, you could say, I specialize in treating these type of patients at the amazing hospital for X amount of years. Do you see the difference in terms of what I'm saying? I said basically the same topic, the same item, the same subject, the same point, but it's the way I said it. I didn't say it as normal people would. I said it in a more elevated tone that added a bit more energy and a bit more expertise to what I said that I did at Amazing Hospital. This is why you subscribe to this channel. I talk about these type of things and type of techniques and strategies all the time to help you really elevate yourself as a communicator. So I hope that answers your question. But if you need more, let me know. Abba's View says, especially speaking to higher officials. Okay, Yes. So speaking to higher officials in public meetings, I could talk about this literally all night, Abba's views. And now that you mentioned that, I'm gonna actually take a screenshot. Give me just a second because I want to make sure that I do a video for you on that because that's a really great topic to discuss. I have not done that, even though I've worked and communicate with elected officials all the time. That's something I'm going to do a video on just for you. And I may do a bit of a longer video when it comes to that. So to give you some insight in terms of speaking with higher officials. So this will be your elected officials, your public officials. This is what Abba's Views is more than likely talking about as it relates to this topic. Now, when you're communicating with those type of individuals, as I mentioned at the very beginning of this video, you need to master public speaking. People think that public speaking is only for TED Talks, TEDx Talks, conferences, and maybe speaking to a group of people. Public speaking is for your day-to-day conversations, one-on-one conversations or one-to-many conversations. Therefore, if you're speaking to a group of higher officials, as Abba's Views mentioned, you absolutely want to be able to start mastering public speaking. Why? Because if you can speak in public, you are at a place where you are communicating higher at a higher level than your peers. And when you're speaking to elected officials or higher officials, these individuals have done a lot to get into the roles that they're in, majority of the time. Sometimes it just depends. But majority of the time, if they're elected, they've had to do a lot of public speaking and they are already communicating at a higher level because you have to communicate at a higher level if you're running for a public office or being a public servant, because you have to be able to engage not just one person, you have to engage many people to want to follow you and have you as their leader for whatever it is going on. Therefore, you have to communicate at a higher level. So if you are at a point where you, Abba's Views, are communicating with someone that is a public official, then you have to be at a higher level of communication. They function at a different way. Same thing as C-suite executives. We all function differently. We communicate differently. And this is why public speaking is so incredibly important. It's a skill that you want to develop and learn how to master. So when you're speaking to those higher officials, you're coming across as someone that is very articulate, that's very concise, and that can get their message across fast. Higher officials, they're very short on time. Very, very, very short on time. And this is something that you have to do and be able to speak very concisely as it relates to higher officials. Okay, Abba's View says how to speak with control. This is something I talk about on my channel. Also, this is going to be in alignment with executive presence. That is more so about how you are communicating. So check out some of my videos there. There's a couple ways I will definitely do a video for you. You gave me some really great topics, Abba's View. So I hope that you subscribe to the channel because I will definitely give you a shout out in those videos. Just look out for them. And I'll try to do a community post. I'll mention your name on it so that I can make sure that you're tagged and you know what's going on about the video so I can talk more about it. But speaking with control is very, very, very important. The way you speak with control, and I'm just giving you teasers on these, okay? This is not the full depth of everything, but because you mentioned it, Abba's Views, I definitely want to make sure I give you some value, something that you can take home and start working on. But when you're speaking with control, one of the keys to speaking with control is with silence, believe it or not. People don't think that silence is important, but if you're trying to show extreme control in a situation, silence is important because you have to strategically know when you need to say something and when you do not need to say something. That shows immense control in terms of how you communicate with other people. Many times what happens as leaders is that people will get really upset and they're like, oh my gosh, and, and all their emotions just come out. You see it all. You see it all in their faces. That's not leading with control. Even though the sky may be beautiful outside, or the sky may be full of thunderstorms and clouds that are gray and dark, you still have to present yourself as someone who can speak with control, regardless of the situation. And this is something I talk about on my channel. So definitely subscribe. I'll do some more videos for you specifically to go in more detail on that. Abba's View mentions you give tips only for women. I'm a gentleman. So, Obvious Views. So, in terms of my executive coaching practice, in terms of my one-on-one clients, I work specifically with women in leadership. However, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, and on Instagram, my audience consists of women in leadership and men in leadership like yourself, because you said you're a gentleman. The information I'm sharing with you can be applied regardless of gender. There may be times where I talk about things that are specific for women, but a lot of the content here that I share is specifically for people that are in leadership roles. That includes if you're a woman, and that includes if you're a man. So you would definitely gain a lot of insight here. And in terms of what we discussed so far, the things that I'm sharing with you are applicable to anyone in a leadership role. So I hope that answers that question for you. But my audience here is a mix of men and women. So welcome. Hope you subscribe, because I'm going to definitely go into more detail on the videos that you mentioned before. Now, I appreciate you all for dialoguing and communicating with me today. I appreciate, we have Obvious Views, gave a lot of great dialogue. Wyatt S., I appreciate you being here. Yucatan, Sukaman, hello, welcome. I appreciate you being here also. David Garcia Aldana, welcome back, friend. Glad that you were here. I just appreciate you all being here and engaging with me on the live today and having some really great dialogue and great discussion in terms of how we can help each other communicate. That's the role of my channel. I'm trying to help as many leaders in this world communicate at a higher level, because what I've found that happens, and this is my over 20 years of experience in these leadership and senior leadership roles, especially as a C-suite and as a director, that we're just not taught how to really communicate at a higher level, and especially when you're under pressure. And that's my expertise. I will help you communicate under pressure and help you start developing ways to communicate under pressure. That's what I do, and that's why I'm here on this channel to support you. As I mentioned before, public speaking is a skill that will change your life. It will change your life. You will be able to have those conversations with higher officials, as Obvious Views mentioned. You will be able to speak in meetings. You will be able to know how to modify your voice, as we talked about with Yucatan. And you will also be able to learn how you need to communicate in a written format on paper, like with your job descriptions, as we talked about with Wyatt S. So there's a lot of great things that public speaking can do. It will change your life. It will change your life. If I had one skill to just gift to all of you, it would be public speaking, because most people don't know how to do it. Most people are terrified to do it. And so if you can be that leader that actually can speak in public, you're already going to be at the higher level than everybody else. You're going to be available for more opportunities. You're going to know how to negotiate your salary. You're going to be able to make that big impact on the world that you're wanting to do. All right, Obvious Views says, nice to chat with you, madam. Thank you. Absolutely, Obvious Views. I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you found some value out of our conversation today. Definitely stay tuned to those videos. I will give you a shout out. What I'll do when I do your videos, because I have one more video from one of my subscribers that I'm going to be doing here very soon. I just haven't done it yet. But I will do a post on my community page, and I'll mention you specifically in it. And that will be your cue to know that I'm going to, either I've already recorded it, or I'll make sure I'll send a link to it as it relates to those topics, especially speaking to higher officials and how to speak with control. So that is what I'm going to do just for you, Obvious Views, because those are some really good topics that will be very helpful to my audience and everybody here that is learning how to really communicate at a higher level than your peers. So I hope this information has been helpful to you all, friends. If you are struggling with any of this, let me know in the comments below. I'll be happy to provide you with any support. Specifically, just let me know what's going on with you. I will respond to your comment. If it's something you're feeling that's a bit more sensitive and maybe you don't want to necessarily say it in a public setting, feel free to DM me at Dr. Jacinta Lamontai on LinkedIn, or at Excite Excellence on LinkedIn. I have 2 accounts there. On Instagram, you can contact me at Excite Excellence on Instagram. You're also welcome to send me an email at info@exciteexcellence.org, or contact me via text 954-909-7155. There's my business number. So you're welcome to reach out to me in any way that you can if you have something specific. If you are a man in leadership, you're going to learn a lot of information here to go to that next level. If you're a woman in leadership and you need some additional support, then look in the description below for a strategy session. Sign up for it. Right now it's complimentary. We'll have a brief call to talk about where you are, where you want to be, and how I can help you get to that next level in your journey. I appreciate you all being here today and being so engaged in this conversation. I appreciate your support more than you will ever know, friends. We are growing in terms of the channel. We're at 480 3 subscribers, I believe, right now. So we're getting very close to 500, which is a huge milestone for me. So I appreciate you all. Feel free to share this information to any of your colleagues, friends, loved ones that may have struggled with communicating, or maybe at a point in their career where they're just like you. You're at that higher level, or you're getting to that level, and you just need some guidance in terms of how can you fine-tune this skill set of communication that leaders need so much. So if you have any questions, let me know. I go live tomorrow. So as I mentioned earlier, when YS asked me, I go live Tuesday through Friday. For those of you who just joined, majority of the time I'm live in the evenings, unless there's something in my mind catastrophic that happens and I can't make it. That's the only reason why I will not be here as something like that happens. Or I will let you know in advance. But I've been doing lives in the morning just to see if that is helpful also. So let me know in the comments below if the lives have been helpful. And let me know what topics you have struggled with, or if you've ever struggled with public speaking. Let me know in the comments below. I'll be happy to help you. I hope you all have an amazing day and amazing weekend if I don't see you tomorrow. And I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.